What's up everyone, welcome to another video. In this video, I will show 6 options to hardwire a dash cam in a 2011 to 2023 Dodge Charger. I will cover the included cigarette lighter charger, the optional hardwire kit, and a powered rear view mirror adapter. So here's a dash cam. I plan to make a separate review video for this specific dash cam, which is the REDTIGER F7N Touch, but for this hardware video, it's irrelevant. This video covers any dash cam. But I will explain the placement. When sitting in the driver's seat, there's only about 6 inches of visibility under the mirror, and not a whole lot over here either. I don't need a dash cam blocking any of my view, so it's positioned behind the mirror, where it doesn't block any of my visibility when driving. With that out of the way, let's hardwire it. Dash cams typically come with a power cord that plug into the cigarette lighter, so let's start with that. Plug the end of the charging cable into the dash cam, then run the cord up to the headliner. This fancy little tool came with my dash cam. Then tuck it into the headliner all the way across the windshield to the A-pillar, and tuck it into this gap to get across the A-pillar. Next, we need to run it down the A-pillar, but I personally would not run it under the pillar cover, because there's an airbag under it. Tuck it underneath the door seal, and run it all the way down to the bottom of the glove box, underneath the door seal, all the way down. Pop out here, then run the wire underneath the glove box. To get access below the glove box, there are 3 push pins. One here, here, and here. Pop all 3 of them out to drop the panel down. Then you can run the wire across, and push the panel back up into place, and push the 3 pins back in to re-secure it. Then push it into this gap, and pop out here at the cigarette lighter. This arrangement will power on the dash cam when the car is turned on, and it'll power off the dash cam when the car is turned off, because the cigarette lighter only has power when the car is on. Now let's move on to the optional hardwire kit that gets wired to the fuse box. This end plugs into the dash cam, and this end is connected to the fuse box with a ground wire, accessory wire, and battery wire. The extra battery wire allows the dash cam to record when the vehicle is off if your dash cam has the park recording feature. And this vehicle has 2 fuse boxes, one under the hood, and one in the trunk next to the battery. There it is. Let's wire it to the fuse box under the hood first. To begin, connect one end to the dash cam, then, just like before, run it up to the headliner, across to the A-pillar, down to the glove box, and under the glove box. Up under the glove box, we're going in this area right here. There's a main wiring harness that goes out through the firewall. And there it is, but I can't get my camera in any further to follow it. On the other side of the firewall, we are coming out right here. This is where the main harness comes through. Here I am pushing on it from the inside. And here it is moving on the outside. So you can poke a hole through the rubber boot and run the dash cam wires through and out to the fuse box. If you don't want to go through the firewall, another way is to come down and out through here. You see the light through there? You can run right through to under the hood. The wire will get pinched in the weather stripping when the door is closed. And here we are under the hood. The wire will come out here and can be ran right to the fuse box. Now, I will be using fuse taps in the fuse box for this video. But of course, alternative methods exist. Removing the cover from the fuse box, all of the fuses and relays are specified on the inside. And here's the tool to remove the fuses. First, we need a fuse that has power when the vehicle is off. Use a probe or a meter to test the fuses. If you don't have one, these are $2.79 at Harbor Freight. Connect this to a ground, which is any bare metal surface, and the probe will illuminate when you touch something with power. I will tell you right now that all of these fuses and these fuses have power when the vehicle is off, and these fuses have power when the vehicle is in run mode. For the battery fuse, I use this one, F13, which is empty and specified as a spare. Note that the bottom leg is hot, not the top leg. Now it's time for a fuse tap. Note that the far leg gets connected to the hot, so the current will flow through the fuse. Otherwise, if you connect the near leg to hot, the current will bypass the fuse. Very quickly while we're here, the fuse tap has 2 fuse slots, this one and this one. When installed, the current goes through the top fuse to your new accessory. And the bottom slot is for the fuse that belongs in the fuse box. The current will go through the fuse and back to the box. Exactly the same as when just the fuse was in the fuse box. So insert the fuse tap in the correct orientation, and this goes to the battery wire in the hardwire kit. Next is the accessory wire, and these are the fuses that will work. I pulled this one, F38 airbag module, for no specific reason. With the car off, there's no power. And with the car in accessory mode, there's still no power. And with the car in run mode, now there's power. This is the case for that whole bank of fuses, 34 through 39. And note that the bottom leg is hot. Insert the fuse that was removed into the fuse tap, and insert the fuse tap into the fuse block in the correct orientation, with the far leg connected to power. And this is the accessory wire in the Hardwire kit. And last is the ground wire. The best nearby place I saw to connect the ground wire is down here. Loosen the nut, slip the connector underneath, and tighten the nut to lock it down, or use this nut. Either one will work. Now let's run it to the rear fuse box in the trunk. Again, run up to the headliner, across the A-pillar, and under the weather seal. If you want to follow the rear dash cam wiring, continue across the ceiling, and across the B-pillar, and back under the weather seal. And sometime soon, you will very likely run out of wire. Because Hardwire kits are designed to reach under the hood, you will need to splice an additional wire to continue running it to the trunk. Then across the C-pillar, and your rear dash cam will split off here, but you continue down the windshield, back across the C-pillar, and down into the trunk behind these covers, and the fuse box is that way. And continuing from the trunk side, the wire will be under this cover, traveling back to the fuse box. Let me lift this up real quick. It'll travel through here with these other wires back to the fuse box. If you're not interested in running it along the top with the rear dash cam wire, another option is to run it along the bottom, right into the trunk. Go up to the headliner, across the windshield, across the A-pillar, and under the seal. Then follow the seal all the way to the bottom of the glove box, and behind this panel under the glove box, down to the floor. Then continue along the floor, tucking it under the plastic panels as you go, all the way until you reach the back seat. I believe this run is shorter than running it along the top, but I want to point out again that the wires may end, and you will need to splice on additional wire to continue. And once you reach the back seat, lift it up, and continue running the wires underneath the seat, and underneath these familiar covers, back into the trunk. And again, removing the cover from the fuse box. All of the fuses and relays are specified on the inside. And here's the tool to remove the fuses. First, I'm going for a fuse that always has power, even when the car is off. And I chose this one, Fuse 23, Diagnostic Port. And the bottom leg is hot, not the top. And again, I'm using fuse taps. And remember, the power must be connected to the far leg so the current travels through the fuse. If the power is connected to the close leg, it will not travel through the fuse. Insert the fuse that was removed from the fuse box, and install the fuse tap into the fuse box. And this goes to the battery wire in the Hardwire kit. Next is the accessory wire. I used this one, F67, police accessory. There's no power when the car is off, but when the car is on, there's power, and the power is in the top leg. So install the fuse and install the fuse tap, and this connects to the accessory wire in the Hardwire kit. And last is the ground wire, and there are several easy options. You can install it under this nut, under this nut, or under this nut. I will quickly do this one for demonstration. Loosen the nut a few turns, slide the ground connection underneath, and retighten the nut. And you are good to go. And heads up! After pulling a bunch of fuses while in accessory and run mode to test them for power, I had to reset the time because it was lost when I pulled the fuse. Also, after I started it up, the check engine light was on. I connected my OBD2 reader and the code said lost communication with ECM PCM, which of course it lost communication when I pulled the fuse. I cleared the code and the check engine light is off, and I'm good to go. But heads up if you start pulling fuses with the power on. And now, for the last connection, which is the one I personally used, is connecting the dash cam to the powered mirror, and the connection is under this cover, and I used a plug-and-play power adapter. Very quickly, here's a look at the dash cam power adapter. The adapter gets added in between the connector under the mirror cover, and provides power to a USB-A port, which has an adhesive back to stick somewhere if you want to. It also comes with 3 cables to connect the USB-A to your dash cam. There's a mini, a micro, and a C, for whichever your dash cam needs. Now, this cover is 2 pieces, a little piece in the front, and a big piece in the back. Start by pulling this front piece down and it'll pop off. Then pull the big piece down and it will also pop off. Taking a look at this cover, the little piece has 4 tabs on the back. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the big piece has 4 slots on the back that the tabs pop into. There are 4 rubber pads that seat against the windshield. and 2 clips inside which connect to mating clips on the rear view mirror. Now, this area of the mirror sits here inside of the cover, and this area of the cover is open for the power adapter to fit inside. Disconnect the powered mirror connector. There's a little button here that needs to be pressed in and held in while you slide the connector out. And here's a close-up of the connector and the tab that needs to be pressed in to release it. Now plug the dash cam power adapter in between and connect the USB cable to your dash cam. It was a tight fit, but I was able to stuff everything under the cover. However, the included cable wasn't quite long enough for me to reach the dash cam, so I swapped in a longer cable. So here's the longer cable, and I stuffed all of the extra under the cover, and blammo! It's a simple and clean setup. But I will point out that this does not have the third wire. Like the cigarette lighter charger, it turns on when the car is turned on, and it turns off when the car is turned off. There is no power when the car is off, so there is no recording when it's parked. I'm personally okay with that, but you will need to decide if that feature is important for you when you hardwire your dash cam. So those are a few options, but of course you can route it differently and tap into different fuses or power supplies. And I think that wraps it up. I hope this was helpful. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.